guys. Hannah over here at Punksteading. Can you hear Brewster in the background? He wants his food. I wanted to talk to you guys today about garden planning, and I am by no means an expert. This is my first real year gardening, but I did want to start on the right foot. So I'll show you my setup. So I have these two raised beds, two of these black totes, and about 7 of these large pots to grow in this year. And I really want to grow as much as possible. I absolutely love gardening, and I decided I wanted to grow as much variety as possible this year, just so I could get the feel for different plants and different species, to try to figure out what I like to grow and what grows best and all that good stuff. So before I did any of this stuff out here, I sat down and I made a list of every single vegetable I wanted to grow. And I did this, you know, what vegetables do I like to eat, you know? So I just listed what I wanted. And after I made that list, I researched every individual plant. So potatoes, for example, I researched when to put them out, what soil they like, what to grow next to them and not to grow next to them, how deep to plant them, if I was planting them in containers, how I would do that instead of just like in the ground, what amount of sunlight they need, stuff like that. And I did that for every single plant that I wanted to grow. So carrots, lettuce, snap peas, yellow summer squash, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, and my herbs as well. After I made my list and I did my research, I came out here and I measured how much space I had. So I came out here with the measuring tape, and on the sides here I put a little nick at every single foot. So I have 32 by 120 inch raised beds. I have 2 of those. So after I did all my measuring, I did kind of a rough drawing, see? And I mapped out what I wanted to put where. And you can kind of play around with this depending on how much of each plant you want to grow and stuff like that. I'm sorry, each vegetable you want to grow and stuff like that. How much you eat depends on how many plants you want to put in there. So I just did my little map, and that's what I'm gonna go off of. I did decide to put my root crops in that nice big black tote, so carrot and potato are gonna have their own little black tote, and we'll do a whole video about that as well. But yeah, that's kind of how I decided what I wanted to plant and how much of each thing I could with the limited space I had. I don't really want to add any more raised beds or any more structures, just because I am renting and I don't want to potentially build a beautiful garden and then have to move a few years later. So I'm working with what I have right now. Hopefully that works. So after I did all my research and I mapped out what I wanted, it was time to start budgeting. So this depends on person to person. I really don't mind investing in a good garden, especially since I'm going to use these raised beds hopefully for at least a few years to come. So I don't know, probably back in November I started a little like garden fund jar, because I knew I would have to fill these raised beds with some sort of dirt, and I would have to buy my seeds. So I didn't really have a good seed stock yet, and I think I did about $50 each month. But I mean, again, just kind of use what you have. And I ended up buying a few of these things like back in December, just because I do have that garage and I could store, you know, bags of soil in the garage should I need to, or, you know, my seeds in there should I need to. But if you don't have a place you can store soil or anything like that, you know, definitely just keep saving that money and do what you can. So what you saw me doing in the beginning of the video was trying to fill these raised beds, and I'll probably leave it at that at this point. Back in the fall, in like October, I mulched them, so they had a really decent layer of mulch on them. And I did end up buying compost to put over that mulch right now. So, I don't know, I spent around $80 on compost this season. Hopefully by next year I'll be able to use some of my own compost, but as you guys saw in my compost video, I just have a little like tote going, and that is, you know, definitely not enough compost to fill these raised beds right now. So hopefully by next year I could use some of my own, but right now I'm still just patiently making my own. So I did fill those, and hopefully very, very soon we'll start germinating some lettuce and some carrots. So it is February, it's not springtime yet, but I do have the itch, and I wanted to go ahead and get my compost out so I could start germinating a few little lettuce seeds out here. Since lettuce is pretty cold hardy, I wanted to see what it could do out here, and I needed a little bit of compost on my raised beds to get them going. Alright, I think that's about it. As, you know, the year progresses, it's just beginning of February right now, but as the year progresses I'll keep adding what needs to be added to the garden plant-wise. So I'm going to start with, you know, my carrots and my lettuces, and then do my potatoes in a container, and then in another month maybe do some snap peas, and maybe in another month do maybe some bush beans. I'll have to double check. But then come, you know, April, May, it'll be cucumbers and yellow squash, and I have all my seeds ready. I have my nice rich compost down. So it really doesn't seem like a big hectic rush at all. Just that little bit of planning helps me know what I want, and I just have the seeds waiting in the garage for me when I'm ready to put them in the ground. Alright, bye guys. Stay tuned as the year progresses. We're going to do a bunch of seed starting videos and how to grow this and how to grow that, and you'll see how I do, because again, I am not an expert. So I guess we'll see how it does together.